Hello everyone, I am back. I have been out for a little bit, getting sidetracked with life, but anyway, here I am to finish out this series on how to make hair for your dolls. So I got a little sidetracked because I happen to be married to an identical twin, and there is a Twins Day festival coming up in August in Twinsburg, Ohio, and the theme of it is Shiver Me Twin Burrs. So of course I had to take a break and make some epic pirate costumes. So I've been doing like corsets and pirate jackets and all of that. So that's kept me a little bit. Obviously I'm still working on that too, but I had to get in here and do this fourth video for you. So here we go. Fourth in my 4-part series in how to make hair for your dolls. So I'm going to show you how you make a knitted cap and then add single strands of hair to it. So the one I'm going to show you how to do is this little mermaid. She's got just luscious hair. That's what I'm going to be doing, but you can make pretty much anything with this method because it's just the cap, and then I show you how to attach the pieces. And if you watched my number 3 video, I believe it is, might have been 2, there's 4 parts to this series, right? I believe it's a number 3 one, maybe number 2, where I teach you how to do straight or curly. I talk a little bit about this today too, but not as much. So you can do anything you want with this technique of making a cap and then crocheting strands onto it. The other thing you can do, which I also showed in the cap with embellishment one, is just putting yarn on to the cap, but you might as well go back to the cap embellishment ones that time. This one's more about making a whole wig piece by piece. So this is my little mermaid. I think she's so cute, but she is not finished yet. All she has is eyes. So anyway, let's get at it. So I got 3 little heads here we are going to make wigs for. In the first part of my 4-part series, I showed you how to make what I call hat hair, which is just little bits of hair coming out of a hat. That was a simple way. The second one was solid hair, which is another really simple way to put on cute wig. The third one was wig cap with embellishments. And then this one is the culmination. This one is a more in-depth one, and it's probably going to take a little more time, but it actually will also look really cool. So this one we're going to do a full wig cap and all the full hair on it. So I have not closed this off yet because I need to put eyes on these, but the first step we're going to do is make the wig cap. So that's what we're going to do now. Oh, by the way, these are my heads from my diversity dolls. If you don't know how to make the whole doll, definitely check out my video. Link in the description on how to make this head and how to make the whole doll. But these are 40 row heads on a 22 needle machine. So that's what we're going to be working with. And we're going to go ahead and make the wig cap, and then I'm going to put eyes on them because then it's easier to see what we're working with. So first thing we're going to do is make the wig cap. Okay, all this yarn that I'm using is number 4 Aran weight acrylic yarn. For the skin, I love these Skein Tones yarn. For this first wig, I'm going to be using this sparkly kind of fantasy color yarn. Where's the label? Oh, there it is. This is from Walmart, Mainstay Sparkle Acrylic Yarn, and this is going to end up being a mermaid, so I thought I'd make this cute sparkly yarn. So to make the cap, you want to make a tube of 13 stitches. So I'm not going to go into great detail about how to do that. If you need to know that, check out my super quick little how-tos, link in the description, on how to make tubes and close them off and all of that good stuff. So first thing I'm going to do here is just knit my wig cap. And I'm going to do this with a simple cast on. Okay, and now I'm going to do, I did 13 rows, and I'm going to do a waste yarn cast off. Because if you cast on simple, then you can close that at the top, but then a waste yarn cast off will make a nice edge around the bottom. Since we are not going to double this like we do with the head, it's going to just be single. So let me grab some waste yarn, and we'll do a waste yarn cast off. All right. We have our cap. Close the top, where it's going to go on the top of her head. Now, as I said in my previous video, you might want to check out my video number 3 where I talk about making a wig cap. I go into a lot more detail about the wig cap and about how you can make it fit different kinds of doll heads and whether you might want to make it double or not. So check out that video if you want more details on how to actually make the wig cap. But for now, I'm just going to close off this top part. Okay, again, if you want more detail on how to close off tubes and things, I have some detailed little tutorial videos. You can check those out. But for now, I'm just going to go ahead and close this off. This is going to be the top of her head. And this, when you do wig cap with embellishments, then this ends up being the top of the head. But for this is just going to be a base that we're going to put the hair on. So this isn't actually going to show a lot, and that's also why you don't need to double it, because we're going to have hair on top of this one. And this is going to be some nice flowy curly mermaid hair. Again, if you haven't checked out my first 3 videos in the series and my just how to make diversity dolls, the basics, check that out. All right, so there's our wig cap. Now I'm going to crochet off this edge to make just a nice clean edge, and then we start adding the hair. So I left a really nice long piece on here, so I think I'm going to have enough to go around. If you don't, no biggie, just you know, attach on some more yarn. But I'm going to go ahead and do our slip knot like we always do for crochet. Get that started. Okay, now we're just going to go around in each stitch. It's easy to see when you do a waste yarn cast off where your stitches are. And we're just going to do a slip stitch. And you don't want to do this too tight because you want this to be able to stretch a little bit when it gets on the head. So I probably could have just got a bigger hook, but I tend to just kind of do it a little bit loosely. See, that's just finishing it off with a knife edge, and then we'll take off the waste yarn. So you just want to pay attention, make sure this is not pulling super tight because this is going to have to go on her head and we don't want it to be pulled tight. We want it to just sit right on there nicely. So just check as you're going that you're not getting this pulled too tight because this is going to sit on her head like that and we don't want it tight. We just want it to sit right on there. So you can just check occasionally, make sure you're not getting it too tight. Just finish going around here. you get them all, otherwise you're gonna have dropped stitches. And then when you get back to the beginning, gone through all of them, now I'm just gonna slip stitch to the first one. Right off. And pull off the waste yarn. Waste yarn is off. So now we have this little wig cap. Okay, and then I'm gonna put this on her to see how it looks. I think I'm gonna close off the bottom of this just to make it easier for now, even though I don't want to totally close it yet because I haven't put the eyes on it yet, but so let me do that. All right, so here's her little wig cap on here, and it's I've got it on in a certain way to where I want her to have a side part right here. So I'm gonna do, basically, we're gonna do, this is crocheted strands we're doing this time. You can also do this just with yarn, like you can just put it on like I'm showing you and then just leave long strands of yarn. That's another way, totally valid. But for this mermaid, I want long crocheted curls. So if this is going to be her side part right here, I'm going to start right here with the first strand, go into that stitch, and I'm just going to slip stitch to get it attached. Now, if I wanted this to hang straight down flat, I would probably tuck this knot up and under. But because I kind of want this to come out, I'm going to leave this up like this. And I'm probably going to pull this in up here because that's going to make it kind of come out this way more. So now I'm just going to chain stitch however long I want her flowing locks to be. And by the way, this is an F size hook. As I said in my other videos about hair, if you want it to go faster, use a bigger hook and fatter yarn, obviously. If you want it to look more hair-like, then you can use really fine yarn and a really fine hook. But you're still gonna need to make the cap with this, because if you use fine I mean, I guess you could, but it would show through the head more if you use fine yarn on the cap, because this would look like a net instead of this solid cap. So I like using number 4 yarn because I think it looks really cute, and because the purpose of my show, of my YouTube channel, is to make things quick and easy. And so if we're crocheting tiny little thread-like strands of hair, that's going to take forever. And my other 3 videos were even more quick and easy, like super quick and easy. So these are going to take longer, crochet all these strands. But with number 4 yarn and this size hook, it's not going to take that long. So I'm going to make, this is the front of her hair. Let's see, how long do I want this? I'm going to go a little longer. You can really just make this however you want, you know. And then I'm going to have to count so I know the next time to make it the same. What I do, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 27. I'm going to go 28, 29, 30 just to make it even. And then I want this to be, and if you want more details on different kinds of curls, tight curls, ringlets, soft curls, all of that, check out the previous video number 3 because I went into detail about that. So on this one, I want this to be soft ringlets. So what I'm gonna do is, and I don't want it super fat, I want this to be a fairly thin ringlets, I think. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go in the second chain from the hook, and I'm gonna go 1, 2 single crochets, and then 1 single crochet, 2, 1, 2, 1. That's going to make it curl, but ever so softly. If I wanted it really tight and ringlety, I'd probably put 4 single crochets in every single stitch. But because I want this soft, I'm going 2, 1, 2, 1. If you want it even softer, go 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. You can totally do some experimentation and see, you know, how you like it, how you want the curl to end up being, and do it like that. You can even do like straighter up at the top if you want it to look straighter and just have curls at the end. There's really infinite ways you can make this. So kind of get an idea of what you want it to look like, and then you know, look around at some pictures on Pinterest, kind of get some ideas of some different hairstyles. And then I keep forgetting where I'm at. That was one. And then you can totally make it by using these 4 videos that I made. You can really make any hairstyle imaginable just by using one or a combination of the 4 hairstyles that the 4 techniques that I showed in these videos. And last one. And then I'm going to go into the next one. So here is the next stitch. Here's my part, right? So I'm going to go into the next stitch. And you probably don't need to go into every single one. Actually, let me skip one and see. I think that's going to be better. Do that. Yeah, I think skipping one is going to be plenty. I don't have this stitched on yet. I could go ahead and stitch this on, except I still haven't put the eyes on this yet, and I want to do a video on eyes, so that's why I'm kind of doing it this way. If I were you, I would finish the head with the eyes and everything and then do this. It'd be easier. So look how cute that looks already. Holy cow. So now I'm going to do the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, up to 30. And then I'm going to go back and do, and actually on this one, I probably could take this off because I haven't sewn it on yet. And I'm gonna, obviously can't go in this one because that's the one I'm in, but next one's gonna be 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, all the way up. And you're just gonna keep doing that all the way up. Should I put this back on? I need to finish this head. It'll be easier for you to see. Okay, so I'm gonna go all the way up this side of the part and down this side of the part. And then I'll come back and show you how we're going to do the rest of it. Okay, so I went back and I took it out and I started again because they were a little too ringlety and I wanted my mermaid to not be too ringlety. I wanted it to be a little, you know, seaweedy almost. So what I did was I did 2, 1, single, and then 2. 1 in one stitch, 1 in the next 6, then 2. So it's 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, all the way up. And then I thought I'd show you how I get to the next one. So here I just did my last 2. I ended up 2 in this last one. And here's my part that I'm, you know, here's my part. So I'm going to go here. See, here's the line of stitches, right? I'm going to skip this one because they would be too close together and go into this one. I go through both loops of that stitch, do a slip stitch, and chain for my next one of 30. Okay, beat you back when I get up to here. So I'm going to go up here and then turn around and go back. Maybe I'll show you when I get up here how I'm going to turn around. Let me just show you something. When you're deciding how long to make your chain, realize that it's going to bounce up with the curl, right? So I just wanted to show you, this is with my loose curl. It didn't bounce up a ton, it did some, but if you were going to do, and it, you know, it's kind of a mathematical equation, right? If you did 1 in every stitch,
it would be exactly this long and they'd be straight, right? So you'd know exactly how long it was going to be. I am putting in a double one every other stitch, so it's taking it down about a third, right, ish. If I did one stitch in, if I did two in every stitch, it would probably be, you know, more like half. So, you know, and if you did 4 in each to make a really tight ringlet, then it doesn't translate totally though, because if you did 4 in each, it wouldn't be this long. It would still be pretty long because this chain is only going to bounce up so much. So just know that it's going to bounce up some, not a ton. I bet if you even did 4 in each and made this big fat ringlet, it probably still would be about this long. So just so you know, when you're trying to decide how long to make it, it's easy if you're doing straight hair because you just do it the exact length. And when you do straight hair, you just do a slip stitch in each one. And by the way, this is a tip if you didn't see my other video. If you're doing straight hair, do a slip stitch in the back bump. See that? Here's the front. Do a slip stitch in the back bump, and that'll make a really nice straight hair that looks the same on all sides. So anyway, back to it. All right, so I go all the way up here. Now, another consideration is your cap is sitting back on the head, right? Like this. It's not sitting like this because that's not the way a hairline is, right? A hairline goes like this. So just realize that you're not going to this is not necessarily where your part stops. That's kind of at the back of the head. So I stopped one short of that and I did the next curl, but now I'm going to take this curl and instead of attaching it here, I'm going to go around and attach it to the other side of my part and start going down the other side of my part. So here is my part, right? And you would have this on here sewn on, so it would probably be easier for you to see where the eyes are and everything. But so what I want to do is I want to go in the one that was, you remember how we skipped one stitch in between? I want to go in the skipped stitch so that so they aren't just straight across. I think it would look better that way. So instead of going here, I'm going to go in here and pick up, let's see, where are we? Yeah, that's the skip stitch from this row, see? So I'm going to go in this one across the way, okay, and slip stitch and keep going and then skip one and go down the other side just like we did the first time. Okay, so I went down here and then back up here and I'm back to the front. Now here's a little tip on hairstyling, even with people hair. I was a cosmetologist at one point. So when you have, a haircut, or in our case, a hair crochet, since the head is round, if you make them all the same exact length, you're going to have a layered hair and it's going to look kind of round, right? If you want it to look bulkier at the bottom, then the top ones have to be longer so they're sitting on top rather than being layered. So I'm gonna do a little mixture of that. I wanted some layers, but I'm gonna start this next one, I'm gonna make longer. So like this was 30, and this next row I'm gonna make probably 35. I'm gonna try it and see. I might adjust it as I go. And then the one before, the one under that, I will probably be the length that I want it. So then I'll probably make try to just make them end all the same, which means that the farther down you go, the shorter it needs to be to get to where you want it to go. So we'll figure this out as we go together, but just the principle is if you make them all the same length, it's going to be like a layered hair. If you want it to all be like a bob, you would have to make the bottom one shorter and then getting longer and longer and longer as it gets to the top. So here's what you do when you get to, oops, drop my knee. The front here is you're going to just go in that stitch right there at the beginning, and slip stitch to anchor that. And then we're gonna slip stitch over, because we're gonna skip a row, to the next row and slip stitch, and that's where we're gonna do our next row of curls. So we're just gonna do a row of curls there and continue over here, and then we'll skip another one and we'll do this row, and then same thing here and here, and then we'll be done. So I'm gonna go ahead and do this row. Like I said, I think I'm gonna do 35. I'm gonna do one and see where it lays, but I would like it to be just a little bit longer, and then I'll probably do the next one back to 30 so that those will be the same, so that the bottom will be pretty thick, because I want some layers, but then I want the bottom to be a nice thick, layer. So I'm going to do this one, and I'll go ahead and do this one on camera just so you can see really well. So here's this row, right? I'm not going to do that row, I'm going to do this row, but first I want to do the one on the edge. And then I'm going to go back to what I was doing before, which was 1, 1. On the very bottom I was doing just 4 singles to give the bottom a little straightness, and then I do 2 in 1. The rest of it I do 2 in 1, then 1 in the next one, and 1 in the next one. So 2 1 1 2 1 1. I'll meet you back at the beginning of this. So I'm back to the beginning now, and so I'm going to skip this row and go into this row. So I'm going to go into, I'm going to actually also skip this, because we skip 1 stitch in between too. So I'm going to skip that stitch, which would be this one, and I'm going to go in this stitch. Okay, so I'm going to skip this whole row. So this is the row of stitches, but I'm going to skip the first one and go into the second one. Slip stitch and keep going. And then when I get back again, this is the one I'm in, so I'm going to skip this one, go in this one. So when you get to this part, you'll notice that here's the stitch I'm in, here's the next one. Now we got the hole, which you can't really put a stitch in the hole. So I'm going to go ahead and not skip a stitch this time and put it in here. And then I'm going to go over. So here's a skipped, here's this one. Then I'm going to go ahead and skip that one and go into that one and keep going down to there.
Okay, so I just kept going up and down, skipping a row, skipping a stitch, and all over to where she is got hair coming everywhere. And what's cool about this is that if you can style this, you can put half up, half down, and it's not going to look weird anywhere because there's hair everywhere. If it was straight hair, you could do ponytails, you can do buns, make a little ballerina with it. You can just do anything with this technique of, and I just went up and down till the whole thing was covered. You see this whole cap? Whoop, didn't sew it on yet. This whole cap is covered. There's no part that doesn't have hair on it, which makes it so completely stylable into really any style you want. Now, if you don't want it so thick and luscious as this, you just skip more. Like I showed you, you can make the curls less curly. You can skip more than 1 row in between. See, this one is only, let me see if I can show you this. I skipped 1 row in between each row up there. See, that was a row, and then I went over here and I skipped 1 row in between. So you could skip more than 1 row. The other way you could do it is I skipped 1 stitch in between each piece. So you could skip more in between each piece. So those are different ways you can make it less full if you didn't want it this full. You could also make them longer because when they're this short, obviously they bounce up. Like I said before, you can use thinner yarn, which is a very good way to do it, but you're still going to either want to do the 4 caps so that it doesn't show through, or maybe double it, depending on how much hair you put on it. If you put thinner yarn on, you may, like especially if it's straight, it might part, and then, you know, I don't like to see through to the skin fabric. I want it to just look like hair. So those are some considerations as you're customizing this to whatever style you want it to be in. So now I'm going to show you some pictures of just some darling dolls that I found around Pinterest and such, and how you can use any of those for styles that or techniques that I showed you how to do to make these dolls. So for this one, this would be, you could either make it a hat hair doll like my first one and just do loose pieces, or if you wanted the hat removable, you can make the number 4 one I did today, show you make a full wig and just attach the loose strands to the cap to make the full wig. So that's how you could do that one. Here is some cute ballerinas, and for these you would probably want to do the full wig, because really all this is a wig cap, or at least how you could do it is make a wig cap and then just crochet on some little bangs in the front, and some pieces on top that you can swirl into a bun. So that's fairly easy to recreate that. This little guy, this would just be, I would make a cap and then just do stitches over it to, you know, just do long stitches on the head with a needle is probably how I would do this. So that one is not something I've shown you, but I just thought I'd show you this because it's pretty cute. But this is just basically taking a long doll making needle and stitching the hair over it in long stitches. This one is a combination. This one has the cap. This is kind of like a cap with embellishments one, like my one with the cap and embellishments, because it's basically a cap with a braid laid across the front, but then it has some loose ones that are coming out from the top and then probably stitched down to the cap. So, you know, you can make the straight strands like I showed you how, and then make some little curls at the end. So you do one single crochet in each chain as you're going all the way down until you get to where you want it to curl, and then you start putting 2 in each one, probably just in, you know, 3 or 4 to make it like that. So that's how you can make that cute thing. These girls are just I would say this is more of a cap with embellishments, because you're just going to crochet the little bangs on and then attach the crocheted hair. So you'll notice this one actually has the crocheted hair, and then they braided the crocheted hair into the braids. So that's how you would do that one. And then this little girl is cap with embellishments. I showed you how to do her in my cap with embellishment video, but then this one also has the little extra of some stitched on bangs on top of the cap. So this girl is adorable, and she has boucle yarn. That's how they did this curliness. They just bought loopy boucle yarn, and then they made a cap and attached 2 little ponytails, and left one, you know, 2 strands out in the front, and then just put little ponytail bands on it and stitched it down so that, and add the little clips. So super easy. That's just a cap with the addition of some loose yarn. This one is the full wig with just the straight strands attached, and again then a little bit of curl at the end. So and this one actually you might not even have to make a cap. If you wanted to just simply sew them onto the head, you could do that. Just make the strands like I showed you how, and just sew it right down onto the head. Here's a little boy with cute ones. This would definitely, I would do this as a full wig, with the little curls being very tight, so you'd probably do like 3 single crochets in every single chain to get that kind of super ringlety curls. So adorable. This one, again, just crocheted strands on a wig cap like we did today. She left the first parts of it kind of straighter. Looks like it's pretty darn straight, maybe occasionally putting 2 in one, but mostly straight at the top, and then she got real curly toward the ends. And here's another one that's just a wig like I did today, but more straight at the top with some curl at the ends. Here is another, looks like they took the yarn and it was probably a wool yarn, it would have to be in order to work, and they wrapped it around a metal rod and put it in boiling water and then let it cool. That's what that curl looks like actually. So you'd want to do a wig cap with yarn and then curl the yarn. That would take a lot of work, but it's super cute. This girl is a full wig with straight crocheted on there, and obviously this one actually I think I would just sew straight to the head because it's not very thick. If you want it this thin, probably doing it the way I showed you is going to give you way too much hair. So you probably just need to, you know, crochet double the length and go over the top of the head and stitch it down for that one. She is so dang cute. So yeah, this one looks like wig cap with embellishment method. She's just got the wig cap and then she crocheted on single strands and pulled some of them up into the rubber band. Looks like the part that's swooping down, I don't think that's actual bangs. I think that's just some that she attached right along the front hairline and then swooped over and stitched there with that flower. So super cute. She or he, I don't know who made this doll. Another one just like I made today, but her looks like the yarn was finer, so it didn't make such big yarn. And it's definitely a smaller hook would you give you that more fine look, but other than that, it's pretty much exactly what I showed you how to do today. This one is my Mariama, and this is actually just a little bit different because all I did was make a cap and attach the strands all around the hairline because I knew I was going to keep it all pulled up like this, so I didn't need it to have hair at the crown, you know, so it wasn't something like you can't put it down now because it doesn't have any hair at the crown. So I just attached them all around the edge of the cap and pulled them up in a bow. Super easy that way. Here's another curly cuteness, just a full wig cap, but whoever made the doll maker, left out the part where the headband is so that, you know, it would not have curls there. Otherwise it would be probably hard to get that band to lie flat. So she looks like just added 3 curls at the front and then left a blank all the way around and then put the curls all the way all over the back. But other than that, it's the same technique I showed you today. This girl is cute. Same thing, she's just got some short bangs crocheted, and then it looks like they stitched them down so they would always stay right like that. And then I would say this is cap with embellishments because it's cap and then bangs crocheted on and then a ponytail at the back. Here's one with just free hair and they just stitched down some bangs on the top, but other than that, it's just free hair. And I imagine this you wouldn't even need a cap. You could just attach the hair to the head all over and then stitch down the bangs. Very cute. This one is a little bob, and again, I think this one looks like they crocheted straight pieces, and this is Crochet Mama, super cute. Straight pieces and then sewed it to the head to keep it just right, perfectly in place. Here's another that's just loose yarn attached to the head. Don't even think they did a wig cap, but you could. And then pulled up into a ponytail. And here's another boucle. This is that loopy boucle yarn. This was done just like I showed you today. Could be. Just using boucle yarn. Very cute. And here's one. They even show you how they went round and round to attach it. You could totally do that, or you could use the wig cap the way I showed you and just make a braid in the front. Okay, so that is how you could make pretty much any hairstyle imaginable from one of the 4 techniques from my 4 hairstyle for dolls videos. So I hope you love that. I hope you make lots of fun dolls, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.